The Orville New Horizons Review, Episode 3, Mortality Paradox.
This was an interesting one.
Yeah, it was like, and some of it, if you know the tropes, it's like, I looked down at the when they went on the ship, when the with the Union convoy that turned out to be a Kalon convoy. It it like I was like I looked down at the time remaining. I was like, this isn't. This is still. We're still in the dreams, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, yep, this one's in the dreamland.
It's the Q.
I was just about to say I guess this would be like their version of Q.
Yep.
Yeah, with a much more involved backstory for the Q.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know a lot more about what their origins were like.
Remember, well, yeah, because they kind of started their origins.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Like, yeah, he as a god. Now we are the gods.
and we toy with our former gods just because we can. We do
Yeah.
what we must because we can,
And
for the good of all of
50,000
us, except the ones who are dead. But we're immortal, so that's no longer a problem.
Yeah, it's been about 1,000 years for us. And in another 50,000 years, we'll become beings of pure light.
They're close enough.
Yeah, true. Oh,
What's
yeah, it would
also
kind of.
what's also funny is that, okay, so she spends like an hour. Say she spends an hour doing this whole business. Like, she spends the hour just doing this. Okay, by the time she gets back to the planet, how much time has passed?
Uh, I guess not that long, because remember, it's like every like 11 days, so maybe like a few months or so, or a year or two,
No,
maybe.
no. Because if they are that far outside of their planetary jurisdiction, one might say, they clearly have developed the ability to travel past their planet. So therefore, they probably don't no longer live specifically on that planet, and they're spacefaring. Therefore, you would think they have some form of either they've moved completely off the planet or they have some way of negating that temporal resonance.
But
Or they
also,
just have a split society. Those that stay home accelerate really quickly, and lots of new things are being made. You can either stay home and have all these wondrous things, or in this way, or you can go to the stars and see things, but you're going to miss out on all the wondrous things back home.
true, but also, like, look at this play. Like, they're all immortal, so it's like, see you in a couple hundred years, okay, bye, Bob.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which immortality fixes that to an extent, but it still means that technology is going to advance incredibly quickly on the planet. Like,
They just come back to the planet, like, it's like, hey, here's all the stuff you missed. They just watch, like, a super fast video of all the things, like, oh, okay, thanks. Oh, finally they came out with the iPhone 6.
but yeah. Uh, Again, I like thinking about this. Like, the production got into my head a little bit as to, okay, this is. Susan was thinking, okay, so what was expensive? Oh, I mean, the shooting locations probably weren't, because we've probably been in that exact forest before with them, and a rocky lake. That's probably also nearby Los Angeles somewhere. Um, or in Southern California, wherever they're filming this, which I imagine is Southern California. Like, and then the school,
But
which
hey,
that was probably the most expensive thing, was the school, because of just because of the extras.
that was the most scariest thing. It's like, Oh, great! A school on a alien planet. Lovely.
Yeah, and yeah, it was also
You see, my first the thing I thought at first was like the cliche everyone facing their fears type thing where they each had a trauma or a fear that they had to overcome, especially since, I could see um Gordon having some sort of trauma, being bullied.
yeah, but then they'd have to build a school that
Well, it
looks
didn't
at the
have to.
proper looks like the
It would
proper school.
it would have it's just a representation,
Yeah,
you know? Like, especially since the bully in that one was a giant monster,
yeah,
which trauma causes you to picture that as,
I mean,
way bigger and scarier than it is.
to be fair, when our bully's not giant monsters.
Oh, let's see, Cozy Glue?
Yeah, true.
but
Although he did really take it in the eye.
Yeah.
which is an interesting thing about the physics of how these how these constructs worked for them. Like they couldn't fire at things; their guns did nothing, but throwing things did. Throwing things really
That's
hard did.
interaction with the environment, using the environment.
Yeah, which seems to me like, what if they had picked up something heavy inside the school and started bashing the window with it?
That might have done something.
But or it was just them allowing them to do something when the right when the right emotional state had been achieved. It's like, I'll
Mhm.
let you attack. I'll let you actually do some damage once I've achieved the emotional state that I wish to achieve with you.
Yes. I want to get
And
my rock off.
man, once I got my fix, then
Yeah,
I'll let you. I swear I'll let you go, but I need my fix first, man. I need my drugs.
but yeah. Let's see. And then there's the airplane, which that's a stock. that's a
Oh,
Yeah.
that is a stock set if I've ever saw one. It's like, yeah, we
yeah.
didn't
And
have
it,
to do anything. The studio had one of these just lying around. I
and
wonder
this
if they did just pull out a book of, okay, here's all the locations we have that are just free to use. Okay, well, we got this forest, okay, and a lake. Well, we can just make that place and we just put a little CGI in the sky and be fine. Um, and then we've got a school. Okay, well, you've got an agreement, which makes me wonder whether um, that school was a real school, that was just during the summer and they didn't have anybody there, so they just paid the school to use it, or if the studio has an entire school, like all the bleachers and such, or that was just they filmed at the bleachers, but the school itself was something that the studio just owns because it comes up a lot. Like, I wonder, wonder how that
Hmm.
worked. Because, like, okay, so now Fox is owned by Disney. Like, if you have access to all of Disney's backlot to use as your,
Mhm.
it's like you're put into your catalog as well. They combine Fox and Disney's back catalog of, okay, you can use this. We have this set and this set and this set, and they're all ready to go. You just have to ask for it. It's like, yeah, that's good. All you have to do is budget for extras
Yeah.
and whatever crew you need. And so,
Yeah.
like, it wouldn't surprise me in the slightest if they, or they just, or even better, they just found a school that was going to be demolished or something, and that was out and about, that was being replaced, and said, hey, oh, don't destroy it, sell it to us, and we'll use it for films. And they just take over the upkeep, and as long as they keep the upkeep good, they've got a school they can use whenever they want. Somewhere out on the outskirts of Los Angeles, that's far enough that it's not going to be taking over a city center. You don't have people walking, because the problem with schools is they are usually centrally located. So you're going to take up some spot in the middle of a city, and that's not really great for filming. So if they found some school that was like a rural school that was out in the middle of nowhere, and they're just like, okay, you were going to tear this down to build a new one because this one was old. Okay, we'll just buy this off you, and then you can take that money and put it towards your new school. And like,
Yeah.
okay, and we take over the upkeep, we name it whatever we want, we can do whatever we want with it, and now we've got an actual school that's available whenever we want, and we don't have to, we just have to keep the upkeep on this set. And as often as schools come up in these stories, in stories here or there, they can just use that ad infinitum.
Yeah.
It might be worth it at that point. With as many things as Disney makes, it's like, yeah, just keeping one school that we could just use however much we want. Great. Again, it could have been a real school. I didn't see any notes on it when I was checking the trivia. But, yeah. It was one of the simpler episodes. I mean, the only thing that was a real mystery was, okay, what exactly? Like, they're trapped by something. Like, once you got into the school popped up out of nowhere and whatnot, it's like the forest, when it came to the forest, it could be, okay, there's somebody terraforming. Okay, that's fine. When the school popped up, okay, there's some sort of psychic, shenanigans going on. And then as you got more and more, it's like, okay, is this a neural parasite? Are they having some sort of shared delusion from that? And then, and then at the end, that was out. It seemed like out of nowhere. We knew something was going to come up, but that's how they chose. They could have thrown a lot of the last 5 minutes or so where they reveal who it was. It's like, you really could have thrown just about anything in there and it would have made sense.
Now, I know he's a pilot, but I'm a little bit surprised he knew how to fly something so old.
Well, it might be like one of those. He seems like he's got a bit of Tom Paris in him, and he might do retro flight sims or something like that.
Yeah, really retro.
Yeah, but he pulled a Tom Paris, and he's like, I want to do something retro. I'm gonna learn how to fly this type of plane.
You know when I may need it.
But
And I kind of like I forget the race's name. I kind of like the way how they bury their kind in the floating pods.
Oh, Mocklins. Yeah,
Mocklins. Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably one of the ones they actually spent money on, was the Mocklins. That's the room, maybe not, but all those pods probably.
Yeah,
at
that's
least the CGI
right.
budget.
Yeah, we just keep them here so they can settle any unfinished things.
or was it like 9, 10 days, something like that?
Yeah. Like, Greg, how dare you die? You owe me $5. Uh, and then getting strangled by your dead mate. It was a good episode. Now, I mean, so far, I would just like call that new alien species. Well, did they give that alien species a name? The Q-esque ones?
I don't remember, but
Let's just call them R's, because R comes after Q. Now, right now, I would just call them chaotic neutral.
um,
Because I want to say true neutral.
well, they're more aligned to some of those. It happens in a lot of Star Trek series where they're experimenting on the crew because they don't see them as, you know, equals.
Yeah.
And so it's something along those lines. So are they're doing something to somebody without their consent like that, you know, and that's tending towards chaotic evil in that they don't care. They don't, you know, they don't consider their wants what they would want. You know,
True.
they just said,
Now,
"No, this is we're doing it, and I don't care."
I wonder if in like the future it's like they're gonna join the good side and help them defeat the Cylons, or join them and help defeat the good side.
I think they've gone. I think they're gonna go full Q and just like they don't actually want to get that involved with this
And
whole
it's like,
situation unless it gets in the way of, unless it completely it threatens their shenanigans. They're
oh, it might, because like the Cylons want to destroy all life.
But at the moment they can't. So
Yeah.
as long as they're not threatening to completely wipe out. You know, you can want to wipe people out without actually being able to do it, without having the ability to do it. Now, if they didn't have the ability to do it, and it would get in the way of their shenanigans, like they might step in. But I think they're mostly, you know, this is sort of their own version of the Prime Directive. We're not going to get involved
They may
unless it's
realize,
shenanigans. We can get
well,
involved, but only for shenanigans.
yeah. I mean, they may realize it's like, wait, we need to help them, because if the evil robots kill everybody, then who are we gonna play with?
The robots aren't fun.
Yeah, they're not atomically correct.
Picard never hit me. I'm not Picard. uh,
Ugh.
anyway, anything else?
Well, I know it wasn't in reality, but even fake her does not like Isaac. Like, you're gonna trust him?
You know, it was built from their memories of her, so not
Yeah.
surprising. Oh, and it was really satisfying when the first officer, names are just blowing out. It's just she's the flight attendant is. You can't go in there. You can't do this. You can't do that. And just like punch.
She was distracted.
That was very satisfying. That was incredibly satisfying to watch her just clock her and just like.
And then it's like they finally realize, oh, this is all fake. It's like, why? Because the gravity would have crushed us.
Yeah.
Like, splot. Although, I gotta say, it's just it's been a couple days there getting crushed. Your muscles would be so massive.
It'd probably kill you first, but
True.
what if you? Though I suppose with that sort of gravity well, you could in theory maybe make some sort of uh, if a sort of zeppelin would work in their atmosphere. Like if the gravity was, you could make a sort of floating platform where you could people who wanted to train, like they could set it up like, okay, well, at this many feet, this many feet out, this many miles out, you're at Earth gravity. If you maintain orbit at this, like, well, no, orbit would mean you'd be free falling around the planet, so you wouldn't get that. I wonder if it's possible. No, that wouldn't work. Anyway,
Maybe.
yeah, because I was thinking, because it just reminded me that like Venus has like it's like they've thought of doing like inflatable living spaces in Venus because the pressure and temperature is about right. It's toxic atmosphere, but the pressure and temperature is about right, and you could just create a balloon of non-toxic air, and that would be.
I do want to try some of that chocolate though. That really dense chocolate.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, you know what attraction I want to see now? So she's back from her parents, having like treatment because she was gravity sick or whatever. Whatever the thing was called. I wonder what the interaction will be like when she meets her temporary replacement that was like on the ship.
I think they just had somebody cover for her.
I know, but it'd be nice to see. It's like, hey, how's it going? Like, good. I'm strong now. I can beat Isaac in arm wrestling unlike last time when my arm just snapped.
Anyway. Anything else?
Let me see. They did the river thing, the school, the plane, the Buckland, the fake Cylon attack. Anything else? I mean, school is scary. I got nothing.
Okay. All right.